So I'm running two D&D games off and on right now, all in the same world. And the past few weeks, one of my D&D games have been split up into two for a while since I wanted to try some different stuff. They have new party members in both as well, meaning that I'm running like a game for four people and then also for three people. And since they were both going on in the same sort of city, it was a weird landscape. I don't know if I'm going to do that again. It felt weird knowing that they were both on the same timeline, but they weren't always, like, not all the players could always be there all the time, if you know what I mean. And yesterday, thank God, they joined up, making it just one party with 7 whole people, which is something I don't usually recommend, but I don't think this is going to be like a huge permanent fixture. Some of the party members don't look like they're going to be permanent since they have their own stuff going on. But right now, it's a party of 7 people, and I'm perfectly fine running it that way for a little bit. I'm just not going to get attached to that idea. So the reunion, the joining, was in the middle of a fight the party of 4 had gotten into, and then the party of 3 had bumped into while looking for them, which had a lot going on. In essence, they had an objective, which was, here is someone, they are going to this party and they need to be protected because there's a suspected conspiracy out to kill them. And indeed, all of the staff of this public venue had drawn weapons and went for him after a signal from one of the nobles in the area that none of them had actually talked to, but one of the players had read the mind of, so they knew a little bit about what his deal was. I think I was fine with the chaos, but there was a lot of sections of the fight, long bits the combat dragged on for, because none of the players were really doing anything. It was NPCs hitting NPCs. I'm perfectly fine having NPCs on both sides of a conflict during a combat encounter, but I think that when they're fighting each other and they're like, the party's just a non-factor, then it can get a little boring at times when they're just standing there like, okay, what do we do? I think the only time I was holding their attention during those sections where it was just like, here's 10 NPCs in a row, was when they were attacking their mark, the person they were supposed to protect. And granted, this dude had more hit points than basically anyone else there, a decent AC that could also be boosted with the usage of the shield spell. He was still in danger if they all managed to get around him, because a lot of them were thugs, which pack tactics. So it did kind of drag on a little bit in points, because again, the players were just kind of sitting back and watching a fight sometimes. To not have that happen again, I think I should reduce the amount of enemies. I had like 15 to 20 thugs there or something, and instead do maybe still trying to outnumber them, but fewer stronger ones. I could have gone more with, like, I don't know, the veteran stat block, and then had also a couple of other dynamic elements. I could have had one of them be a spellcaster that was doing some huge things that were disrupting the fight. Through this fight and the social event that came before it, I introduced a lot of smaller villains that I could reuse later with this social event scenario. Like the shady security company owner Eula, who had actually called the shot, or Clinton Forrest, who was there and was kind of being like this suave dude, and then was discovered to have actually been a player's like backstory villain and stuff like that, so it could come back and bite them in the butt, or they could try and bite him in the butt, which is what they're doing right now. I introduced a very powerful force in the city known as Deadman, who basically owns the bottom half of Shan without governments or anyone else, that sort of thing, knowing. Potential villain, potential ally, potential neutral party, so he was really just kind of there as an introductory. This is a main guy, he's very important. And the party were inconsistent and kind of difficult with him in their negotiations. They were giving him a bit of sass. They weren't really treating him with the respect he usually gets. So therefore, we'll see, but not on the greatest of terms after their introduction. I think I foreshadowed him well, as he got in on the combat side of the party to figure out their interests, and he was very strong. He could 1v1 any of them easily. If all of them were against him, I don't know, I'm not going to reveal that, but dude was very, very powerful, managed to take on a bunch of thugs all at once with just like the help of a spell. I don't think it overshadowed the party too much. Him and his butler came along, they were both strong, but it was likely welcome because they were vastly outnumbered and combat was getting like, it was stopping and starting, if you know what I mean, and they called the numbers quite well. I don't think I'm going to do that much at all to introduce characters, since it takes away from the players and their badassery, but I felt it was the best way to introduce like some force in the city that they don't really want to mess with, and just showing them straight up. Here's one of them casting a 6th level spell. Here's another one swinging around a greatsword 3 times that does like 15 damage on average. Then came the introductions after the whole conflict, which were actually very short. The players seem very objective-oriented. They want to get down to business. They want to move to the next thing. They want to get things going. And they're always talking about the environment, what they're going to do, what they've done. And I mean, that's just been my whole party for a while now. So I intend to, instead of being like, hey guys, chill out, I'm going to be like, okay, here's a billion things you can do, go do them. Because I think that instead of trying to steer them in a direction where it's like, guys, chill out a little bit, you give them what they want and more of it, so that they're more excited to be in your games and stuff like that. They've got one more thing they need to do before being set free, and I'm excited to see them like chill out a little bit if that's what they want to do, because I'm not going to just throw the next thing at them immediately afterwards, since they have a huge group and that could very much shift and change. However, I am gonna always try and like have a quest that they can do. If they're like, well, you want to do cool shit, they can. I have lying around a few different places where they could get minor quests and stuff like that if they wanted to. A few people they know have a thing or two that the party could do for them. Nothing too much, like maybe take up an hour or two of the session or something like that. But it's something for them to do if they want to do it, beyond just, okay, you guys go entertain yourselves for a bit now. There is a huge party imbalance in terms of levels. The lowest level is 5, the highest level is 9. That sounds quite bad, and it's certainly different, but the reason that I'm okay with it is that the lowest level character is support dedicated. They are just there for utility mostly. They've specifically said they are entirely a pacifist. They're playing a life cleric. They are just there to help. And the most powerful level 9 character is entirely combat based, and they're built very well for combat, and outside of it they can do some Dexy stuff and things like that, but they're not nearly as useful as, say, the sorcerer in our group, who's kind of the solution to a lot of problems that the group have and stuff like that. So it doesn't subtract from any of the others in the group, and plus this level 9 character can't tank too well in comparison to the only level 6 barbarian in the group, who is built way more tank-wise. So I'm perfectly fine with that imbalance being there, but hopefully it evens out eventually, where the level 5s and 6s are going to slowly start crawling their way up. So there's another campaign diary. This is probably going to be a recurring series, but I don't want to label names so that when people come in, they aren't like, oh, this is campaign diary 7. I can't watch this because I haven't seen the other 6 and I'm not about to. Feel free to watch any of these at any point. They're all disjointed enough, I think, where, you know, they can apply to anything. If you found any of the reflections here useful, let me know. And if there's anything that you think I talked about that I could have done better, or I like should have done, yada yada yada, let me know. But yeah, thank you for watching. It would really help me if you liked and subscribed and all that stuff, but most importantly, commenting, like I mentioned earlier, because then we can get a discussion going. Join my Discord. I tried to start an event, but there was only one person interested, so I'm like, nah, and I cancelled that. So if you want to be part of like voice chat events or stuff like that with me, maybe even be in for the chance to do a one-shot or something, join the Discord. It's in the description, and I will see you when I see you guys. Bye bye, love you.